All right. So the Niners did what they needed to and then some. And I like to see that we out McCaffrey. Uh, can't say enough about the offensive line. And man, I mean, just they went farther than I thought. It was better than I thought they would be. So, Lucas, how you feeling about the Niners?
Oh, obviously very good. I mean, they came out, they performed 132 to 19, I think was the final score. So we weren't too far off in our predictions before the season started with the preview episode with Damon Bruce. I think you had the game 24-19 or 28-19,
Yeah,
something like that. And I had it 28-21. So we're pretty accurate. I felt like the Jets were gonna have their moments, and they did. It looked a little questionable in the first quarter. Three and out, then we got that huge turnover, scored a critical 3 points to start the scoring action. But then Aaron Rodgers got hot. He was hitting Garrett Wilson for third down completions, scored a touchdown. Jets actually had a lead going into the third possession for the 49ers. And from there, I don't think we punted again. I mean, we just scored on 8 straight possessions. Jake Moody had a hell of a night, 6 field goals, and special teams looked awesome. This is the kind of special teams I was hoping for the last season, but good start to the season for that group.
absolutely. And Aaron Rodgers got hot, and then he got extremely cold. He looked a lot like he did, just like you said in the last podcast about how he looked against the Niners the last few times out, even in the playoffs. Um,
Yeah,
he just seemed to struggle, and that kind of shadow came back and kind of covered him, and he really it was a team thing too. We were dominating on all facets of the game, and I think it was really awesome as a Niner fan just to see how much depth this team has. I mean, Greenlaw's out, McCaffrey's out. Um, what did you think of the Purdy's performance in this game?
Purdy, his numbers won't wow you. He didn't have a touchdown pass. He had a touchdown potentially dropped or was dropped by Brandon Ayuk, but perfect throw on that corner end zone throw to Ayuk. I think we only got a field goal by Jake Moody on that one, but he was solid, 19 for 29, 230. I looked up today and it said of all the quarterbacks this week one, he had the highest PFF grade. So that tells you a lot that almost every single play he was a plus and didn't turn the ball over, didn't have any even really potential possible turnover throws, which is great. Just he looks like the leader that we've seen and we've known since he's become the starting quarterback for the team. So
Definitely. And it's as good a time as any to get down in the trenches with Lucas Ortiz because, wow, man, I was impressive. I mean, to see uh, Trent come back and play almost every snap to where he has to go in and get an
yeah,
IV. I mean, the guy just knows what he needs to do to be the best. And even without practicing, it didn't matter. Let's give us your
yeah,
analysis.
yeah. So Purdy was he was able to get back, and I think the pass protection held pretty well all game. I really liked the debut of Dominic Puni. And it's not just me, I listen to a lot of sports talk radio and ESPN and Fox Sports, and it's the unbiased opinions of NFL players and experts that I most listen to because they're not the guys that follow the team the most. They watch the game and they give their opinion with no bias. And guys like Brian Baldinger, Jeff Saturday, they're not 49er fans, but they know and watch the game. And they both commented over the last couple of days how much they like Dominic Puni, his feet, his power, his anchor. He's really good at reach blocking and sealing off the backside on some of those big runs for Mason, who had a huge game. I mean, to step in for Christian McCaffrey, we didn't even talk about that yet. The fact that Christian McCaffrey, we didn't even know he wasn't going to play until about an hour before the game.
Yeah.
Uh, Supposedly Mason knew, and maybe some other guys on
On
the team were
Friday, he
were
said.
given privy information. Yeah, like I think it was more they told Mason, and I think they told the offensive lines like, hey, look for the game plan to be not just Christian McCaffrey, and if he doesn't go, Mason's going to be able to step in and we're not going to miss a beat. Maybe not as good of a pass catcher or route runner as McCaffrey, but ever much the runner, one cut running back, picks a hole, breaks tackles, gets more yards than expected on the blocks. And the offensive line, I think from the second drive on, just dominated the game. I mean, they just enforced their will on the Jets, and the Jets come in with, they're a very prominent defense. They
Yeah.
have first round picks all over the defensive line. Quinnen Williams, Javon Kinlaw, former first round pick for the 49ers, Solomon Thomas, former first round pick for the 49ers, and a lot of the guys that are really good. And the Jets, uh, they're not some soft defense coming in, and we were able to do anything we wanted to in the running game. Brock had a pretty much a clean pocket most of the game. I thought we would have had some bigger plays in the passing game, but it was just one of those games where they covered us well, and when we did take our shots to use check, Jawan Jennings, we were able to get the time that Brock needed, and that's thanks to the offensive line. So Trent Williams, I don't know how he does it. Doesn't practice all season or all off season, and skips training camp, comes in 4 days before the game is played, and like you said, he didn't miss a beat. Dominic Puni, hell of a debut, and the rest of the line was solid. I really liked what I saw out of Jake Brendel and Aaron Banks. We'll have to see what's going on with Aaron Banks. He left the game. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
Spencer
right.
Burford came in the third, fourth quarter,
Yeah.
did pretty
He
well as
played
well.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a calf injury that kept him out, but I don't think it's anything major. And for the most part, the offensive line um, never had any issues with any of the top defensive rushers for the Jets. Very
Yeah.
little pressure, and you'd love to see that. So A plus game, and we'll see how they do against the next opponent, the Minnesota Vikings.
I think you kind of touched on it last week. I mean, they had to play without Trent for a little bit, and now he's back, So if you're able to kind of hold your own without him, imagine what it's like when he comes back. So, yeah, it was great to see the line looking good. It's a good grade. I don't think anybody would give them any less of a grade than that. Now we're on a short week here, and we face Sam Darnold coming up, former 49er. Uh, so what do you think are the keys to getting the right kind of practice in after you played on a Monday night? Obviously, you got to take a couple days to
Yeah.
recoup, but how do you see us faring against Minnesota on a short week?
Yeah, so today, Wednesday, I heard the players came in for a light practice, not full speed, not wearing pads. Tomorrow's going to be a full speed practice. They're going to get one of those in before Sunday's game, which is an early game, early start for the team. So,
Yeah,
their clocks are going to be a little off, even though you might come into the city. I think it's in Minnesota. Is it's going to be 2 hour time difference, but you got to be ready to play. They're going to be ready to play. So you got to have a tip-top game plan. I think Darnold is a solid quarterback. He's not a real mobile quarterback, but if you give him space, I mean, that guy can take advantage of some open territory if you allow him to scramble. And Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league, in my opinion. So do whatever you got to do to take him out of the game. I don't think
yeah,
Jordan Addison, other than being a deep threat, is all that dangerous of a weapon. Running back, they have Aaron Jones now, I think, from the Packers last season, and
yeah.
he's
That's
been
right.
solid. He's been solid so far. That first game, I think he had over 100 yards. So, stop the run game first, stop Justin Jefferson next, and put pressure on Sam Darnold. I don't think he does well when guys are in his face and putting the pressure on. Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd had a great first game for the 49ers. His
Yeah, they
debut
look
was
great
was
together, don't they?
awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he got kind of a cleanup sack on a nice pass rush from Bosa. Bosa probably could have had the sack first, but he put Leonard Floyd in the position to clean up. And I think I really like what I see out of the DB. So,
yeah.
covering Justin Jefferson this season, we have two good cornerbacks. And actually, you can make a point that we have three good cornerbacks with Isaac Yiadom coming in and being an outside guy when they go to the nickel formation and they put Lenoir inside. And I really like that. I
Moore
think
had a
that
great game.
defense more times than not is going to be the base defense for us five DBs instead of three linebackers.
That's what I was surprised at, actually. The defense looks better than I thought they would after kind of revamping and, get those preseason games out of the way. Those don't really count, obviously, but, they put in the work and now they're playing well together. And I just really like the way the secondary looks.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way that Bosa is able to get some new weapons next to him now, it's just, this is going to be a great season defensively
Yeah.
if we can stay
I
healthy.
really think the guys
Corner
like
was great too.
I really think the guys like playing under Nick Sorensen. I think they like his scheme. If you noticed, they didn't really blitz. It was pretty much a four-man rush the entire game. And we got pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he was getting
Yeah.
rid of the ball extremely fast. And maybe that's a sign that he's just getting older and not mobile. Maybe doesn't trust that ACL or the is it ACL or Achilles, the injury they had last season.
I think it was an Achilles, man.
Was in Achilles, yeah. So you can tell he really didn't want to run on it and test it. And the pass rush was getting there, so he's getting rid of the ball. And we got to him once or twice, but yeah, I think Nick Sorensen, that might be something that is kind of his calling card is, he's not going to send a lot of blitzes. He's not going to rush five guys all that often. And we're just going to try to get to the quarterback with four guys.
Well, it's such a great thing when you see how well we played against such a talented team. And the only gripe I have offensively is Ayuk. That I mean, it was right in his hands. And after the big extension, and Purdy just that ball was perfectly thrown, just hit his hands. He should have had that ball, but overall we dominated the game anyway. It didn't really matter. But
Yeah.
in a close game, then you would have looked at that and gone, "Wait, man, you got the money now. You got to make that catch." But it was nice to see that footage. You see that footage they showed of him catching the ball through the trees at home?
No, I didn't
Yeah,
catch
they
that.
showed, like, I guess he practices it. There's a big tree that has all these different limbs, and then he runs to one side, and someone throws the ball through the trees, and he looks for it and he catches it. That's how he practices it at home when he's waiting for contract extensions. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, they look great, and I think it's time to do some score predictions.
Predictions? All
Yeah,
right. All right. You want to go first this time?
sure. I think that Minnesota is a pretty good team. I think it's going to be a close game, coming off a short week, and hopefully they don't get too cocky, because you just never know what can happen in this league. Teams can they're all professional players. They're there for a reason. So, we actually had the scheme that just demolished our defensive coordinator in Sala. But so I think it's going to be a battle in this one. I think it's not going to be that close. Depending on, hey, do you have real before I make my prediction? Do you have an update on McCaffrey's injury? Is he looking to play in
He's
the
either
next game?
questionable. I think he's either questionable or doubtful. I
Okay.
think
Then they
I
played
would
so well
if
without him.
if I was his
Let him
fantasy
rest.
football manager, I would look to have another option. Maybe got lucky and picked up Mason, or
Yeah.
like me, just drafted him late in their fantasy draft. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna play all that much if he plays at all. I know
Okay.
he's practicing, but how hard he goes is a question mark. So
So
it's
with no
not it's not looking
McCaffrey,
good.
I think it's going to be Niners 38 and Minnesota Vikings 27.
Okay. Um, I don't think we're gonna move the ball as as well as we did that first game. Like, asking a team to not punt eight straight drives, and not
Crazy.
turn the ball over is very difficult task. And I think
We scored on 8 straight drives too. I mean,
Minnesota has a sneaky good defense. So
yeah.
we didn't do all that well against them last year in Minnesota. I think
Rudy's
still
leg
going to
was on
score about
fire. Sorry, guys.
20 24 points, but I think our defense plays even better this time. And Darnold's he's gonna hear footsteps. He's gonna go to the bench and say, like, I don't like what's going on out there. Those guys are brutal. Those guys are tough. And I don't think he's gonna have a good game. He's gonna throw a couple picks. I think Fred Warner does get his pick this week, and maybe even takes one back to the house like you predicted last week. So I'm gonna say 24-10, 49ers 2-0 heading
Nice.
into LA. Which, by
Sounds
the way,
good.
if anybody is going to be in Los Angeles week 3, me and some other 49er fan friends will be in attendance at SoFi Stadium, aka
Nice.
Levi South, watching the Rams get destroyed
Awesome.
by the 49ers. So looking forward. Little look forward to the future after playing the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, great having you here, Lucas. And I apologize to all the viewers. I had a little technical difficulties going on with this is our first live stream, really. So we did the pre-recorded video with Damon last week, but this was a little difficult and had some issues. So I
Yeah, I
apologize for
think
that. We'll get on top of it, and
I think like
hopefully
Brandon
enjoy.
Ayuk, you missed the preseason, so it kind of affected your play. You
Exactly.
missed a wide open perfect pass in the end zone.
Yeah. I just wish I had that contract extension, you know? But
Attaboy.
anyways, all right. So, um, yeah. So anything else you want to cover before we get out of here? Because I think make it short and
No,
sweet. You know,
yeah, short and sweet. Go Niners.
go
2
Niners.
0. Let's beat them. Let's beat them purple people eaters. I think that's
Thanks
what
for
they
joining us.
used to call them back in the day, right?
Yep, yep.
Minnesota Vikings, purple people, the purple people eaters.
That's awesome. You remember
Yeah.
that.
Uh,
All
all right,
right, let's
guys.
go get them. Go
Take
Niners.
care.
Take
Later.
care. Later.